This is St Nazaire on the Tourist channel, video number 3 in our series. As I mentioned at the end of the last one, we're going to be speeding up play dramatically, taking less die rolls that you're going to see. The game's going to have a few more die rolls, and less rule explaining. We're just going to rattle through this and bring you all the action, all the fun, because I don't want to bore you like a wild pig. But before we get going, may I mention that I make these videos in aid of a charity called Cure Parkinson's. You can guess what they're trying to do. There's a link to them below this video, one in the About section on the channel page. If you happen to have a spare $1, euro, yen, yak, or a British pound you can send to them, I'm sure that they'd appreciate it. Let's have a look at the start of turn number 3. Okay, so we've done the rolls for the searchlight repair phase and gun repair phase. This gun didn't get repaired. This one went from an out of action to a disrupt. We rolled the zones. We got one light going into zone number A. This light doesn't work because it's disrupted. This light goes into zone Z, and that one's into zone number 4. We are now onto the naval attack phase, where we were rolling our pre-designated shot against the Campbelltown. It is on fire, so there will be 2 shots against it. Even though it is beached up on this Cassian, it is still going to be getting a number 12, which is a casualty roll, and for the fire token that's on there, a number 8, which will be a evade, and well, it's not going to evade anywhere, another casualty. So 2 casualties onto the Campbelltown. There will also be rolls for the on-fire boats here, here, and here, and then I get on with the sequence of 12 and come back to you at the end of that. Well, look away if you are one of the Brits supporters. They got absolutely devastated by the German rolls this time round. All 12 shots were successful hits on the Brits, plus the ones that were already on fire, taking some pre-detonated shots, as well as the Campbelltown that we saw earlier on. Our flotilla gun display now has a +1 to the die roll. That's going to start hurting sometime pretty soon. But we haven't finished there. We've got to mark off some more losses on there yet, and I'll do that in a second, because the 12 shots were absolutely devastating to the British cause. One boat here received 2 on fires. So young Platt here's boat exploded. It's no longer here. We've got a on fire and an evade and a sunk on here because this guy ran out of crew. That boat's now disappeared. And we've got on fire and evades and turnaways and a sunk over here. This one rolled a 2 on the results effect table, which is a sinking, which means he was holed below the waterline, and that boat is now gone. That's all going to affect the covering fire flotilla dice roll modifier, long expression, which I shall get on with immediately. 1 second. Okay, so I've tidied up from the harbour defence. We've got a couple of tokens here. These are representing 5 guys being picked up probably by knock when we get to the naval movement phase, because they come off of, I think it's Rodier's boat and Fenton's boat, etc. We've got to rescue guys, take them home. It gives us some victory points towards the end of the game. These guys are sunk and gone. This is the boat that exploded in this sea zone here. No survivors from there. And these 2 guys, though they would be able to add their guns to the covering fire phase, because of the banding that affects the flotilla gun display, it doesn't matter if I take them off now or later. It's effectively it's a done deal. But we are going to be rolling the the covering fire shot, which we're going to be targeting this gun here. It's a target for the demolition guys anyway, and it can affect everybody all around in this area. So getting this gun done first, I think, is an important thing to do. We have to roll a triad. Effectively, these 2 dice must equal less than 7, but we have our modifier, and this would be the damage provided we get a nice low roll on this one. So we have rolled a 7. That's a little bit annoying, because on our covering fire, because of our cumulative +1, that doesn't affect it, but our flotilla gun display is now at a +1. That turns into an 8, which means it's a miss, and well, a roll of a 5 would only have disrupted the gun anyway, but nothing happened. Long explanation, nothing happened. I will see you when we get into the dockside defence phase, or even at the end of that perhaps. So the British forces rather got away with that from that dockyard defence phase, Campbelltown took a bit of a mashing. It's lost some guns, lost some crew. I think we're down to just 3 crew left on there. So we're going to be using our scuttle at the end of the naval movement phase. I think it's a demolition phase actually, to try to scuttle the Campbelltown before it loses any more crew, and then we can't scuttle. The scuttle gives a bonus to the explosion at the end of the game and the big Hollywood finish. The rest of the British forces took some damage, took some evade markers, but hardly any damage really got done to any of these guys on here. It would slow down their exit from these zones, but not terribly. So I think what we're going to be doing now is tidying up this board now, getting rid of all the British ships and doing the naval movement into place. These guys come away from the docks. Some of these guys landing onto their landing places and getting some commandos on the board. And I'll be rolling the German activation, putting some Germans onto the board. And I'll see you when we get to the land movement, which would be the commandos moving forward, the Germans moving into them, and then some combat after that. I'll see you in a wee while. Okay, just so I can dot the I's and drink me tea. The naval movement has resulted in these boats going this way, these guys landing, boats going this way. I made a mistook, well, not a mistook, but a miscalculation. It's a mistake. With these guys here that I said have been coming off of various boats to be picked up by these guys here in the approach zone or in zone A. I've got these to sign on a bit of paper. What I was forgetting was this guy is on fire and got an evade, so his speed of 1 with a speed of 1 doesn't give him any movement factor. You better pick anybody up. Same with Knock. He's got a speed of 2. He's got to turn away. He's got no movement to pick anybody up. This guy is already sinking. Some of his guys were ones that are going to go on these boats here as well. So we can't pick anybody up. Those guys that we're going to rescue, well, they don't get rescued, I'm afraid to say. Let me get on with the German activation. It will be a double die roll, which is a 4. It is reduced to a 2. This time round, which means we only get 2 on the alarm. I'll bring 2 Germans onto the board for their level 1. Notice we've got no maximum speed now as well on this turn anyway. So I'll see you when we get some movement done and some combat, etc. Okay, things are a lot more tidy now on the board. Now all that mess of ships and on fire tokens, etc. has been cleared away. What we've got here after the movement phase is these guys here have managed to get themselves close to their target, but not quite onto it. This guy could have moved 1 space further forward, Walton, but didn't want to end up on one of these coloured circles. They will get long range fire, in this case from the green gun up here. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever one it is, wanted to say it is, we have young Woodcock here, I think that is, who's sitting on a zone, but it is also the place where he's going to put his charges down anyway. These guys here have to make their progress. This is Pennington trying to get way up to here. He has to sit on one of these zones. He's got some commanders with him to help him out. This guy's only just landed, but these guys that were all in this big stack here, some have come here, some have come there, are sitting on a square zone for extra defence. They're going to try and get to these couple of places, I believe it is. And Smalley, who placed his charge here, has come down with Roy to try to get these storage tanks as extra bonus points for later on. Unfortunately, when we rolled the German movement, they rolled a 4. These guys moved in. This guy was activated, I think, this turn, or placed this turn. And this guy was on here that may have moved last time, but they didn't do properly. But anyway, these guys are now adjacent to Roy and Smalley. Roy, who's already injured, they have a bit of a tough job defending that position. But we hold our fingers crossed and our loins girded for them. Let's get on with the combat. I will see you in 1 second when I've decided where we're going to go first for the British attacks. Because I'm stupid, I forgot to move these guys forward from the previous turn, but we're catching up anyway. These guys were landed here. They've moved forward into this space, and Bernie, who attacked the light last time, has come forward to join them. We've now got 4 demo guys in this area, a couple of commanders to protect them from these Germans that will come down and maybe even spawn in here at a certain point in time. The attack we're going to be doing is young Roderick here versus the one still alive gun. It's going to be a grenade attack. The grenade attack is successful on a roll of 1 to 3. He's rolled a 2. So, nice. This gun is now been destroyed. It doesn't destroy the one that's next to it. That would be a separate attack. But we do have the, I think it's Chantin here, who will be able to place these explosives in here and try to get that one done. And that would destroy both guns, but one's already gone anyway. You know what I mean there. Next attack is probably going to be these two demo guys shooting across into this triangular section here. There may be factors that mean there's little chance or no chance of them hitting. Let me double check before I commit myself to rolling some dice. Okay, so working things out on top of my head, we've got Purdon and Brett, they're in here. There's a fine line, it's a dotted line down into this ship here. It's a triangular section, which will give them a +1 on the dice because it's an easier area to defend being a triangular section. And the firers are commando demo units, not commando assault units. So there's a +2 modifier on the dice. Basically, because these guys are both, so I'm flicking around a little bit, because Purdon and Brett are both 6 strength units, they have to roll a 4 or lower to be able to score a hit. I've rolled both dice together. There's no reason why I shouldn't do that. Purdon is yellow dice, Brett is the white dice. And they've both scored hits. Nice! So we can just roll the damage again as well as you would do a normal damage roll. Whatever number is the number of damage done to that German unit. Wow. Sorry, Mr. German, you've been absolutely smashed from there. Nice. Okay, I fully appreciate that we should have rolled these guys separately up here for their attack, but they weren't combining their attack factors and they weren't having an attack versus anybody else, so it didn't actually matter that I was rolling both dice together. I was just being a bit of rock and roll with that one. We're going to have this one here, Roy, on his own. He's down to a strength of 3 now versus this 4 strength German unit coming in. His modifiers is going to have a -1 on the dice because he is a commando unit. It's not in the same area. No searchlight is to worry about. Nothing else is going to affect that guy. It's just going to be a -1 modifier for his roll trying to hit this guy here, and he's only got a strength of 3. So he's got to roll a 4 or under to score a hit here. A 5. So unfortunately, he has missed his shot. And we're going to have this guy here now, who is Smalley. He's going to have a deficit to his shot because he has got a +1 modifier rather than a -1, being a commando unit. Might as well just go for either of these two guys. Don't think it particularly matters which one. They're both 4 strength German units, but Smalley is still at a 6. So whatever we roll, a 4 plus the 1 for the modifier is a 5. It's underneath the number we need to roll at. So therefore, we can say he's done his hit onto this guy. Damage he does is going to be a 6 again. Nice. So, I mean, nice if you're not German, that is. This guy here loses all of his strength. That guy goes completely from the game. And so these guys have both had their shots. These guys have had their shots. All that will be left to do now is these guys here that are in the coloured spaces that can be hit from these long range fires can also do the same back again using the mortar fire, which basically is you're following the coloured lines here. You can hit from here to here on a roll of 1. It ain't going to happen in a month of Sundays. We can use both of these guys to do that shot. So we use the commando guy first, who misses, and we use the demo guy, who he hits. Nice, which means he's gone fadump up to here. He's hit that gun up there. We now have to roll on the effects table of a 1, 2, or 3. 1 is destroyed, 2 or 3 is out of action, and a 4 is disrupted. Let's look. A 2, it is out of action. He's knocked that gun out of action with a terrific mortar shot. Nice. Okay, I've had a good look at the board. I can only see 1 German guy here adjacent to Brits to take a shot. Everywhere else, I think, is unavailable for shots. There's nothing from these long range towers. The only guy that was capable was this one here, who's already been knocked out by our British mortar shot. Fudum, kaboom, brilliantly done. So I think we've got this guy here. There's no modifiers. He's not a commando unit. It's not in the same area. He's not a fire in a hex or with any kind of searchlight beams or things like that. Target is in a circular zone, not a square or a triangle, and the firer is not a commander demo unit. So it's going to be a straight die roll at 4 or under for this German guy shooting into these Brits here. He will be targeting, I believe it's the commando unit first, which will be young Roderick, who's at a strength of 4 already. Sorry, is it Roy? No, it's Roy in there, isn't it? Yes, it's Roy. Down in strength of 3 at the start of it. So let's see if the German can hit first. A straight die roll, 4 or less, and we're going to do some damage. It's a 6. Well, he's missed. Well, lucky boy Roy is. They will get a chance to shoot back at him next time round. That, I believe, is the end of the German movement. It's the end of all the combats. I think we now get on to the demolition preparation stage, which is this guy here trying to lay some charges into this small protective block here first. Okay, so we have young Chant here trying to prepare the demolition charges on this 6 victory point location, 222. He has got himself a strength of 6. He has a +2 modifier because he entered the area this turn. He wasn't fired upon. He didn't fire. There is no functioning enemy unit in the area because one gun was destroyed by the grenade attack. The other one has already been disrupted, and it is his primary target. So it's a +2 -1. So it's a +1 on his die roll. He's got to roll below a 6. Of course he does that. He has prepared his charges in that area. I should put a token just there to remind us. We've got the same up here, or similar up here. We have Woodcock, I believe it is, yep. And he is on target 211. He got there this time round. Woodcock on my chart here. He has a strength of 6 as well. So he's got exactly the same modifiers. It's a +2. It's a -1. So he again will place his charges and they will be successful. So we have 2 lots of charges put in place. 1, 2. And we will see if they go off on the demolition attack phase. So we got target previously damaged -1. Nope, it's not one of the Cassians. It's not at risk. And they're both occasions it is the demo units trying to make the charges off. So it's a 1 to 3 for destroyed, a 4 is damaged, and 5 to 6 yet to detonate. We start off with this one here. Trying to roll nice low numbers. We roll a 3, which means it is a destroyed result. Nice. So we got a destroyed down here and up here. Same difference. A 1. It is a destroyed as well. We've just scored 2 big targets there. That's worth 4. That's worth 6. That's 10 points to the Allied troops. Let me tidy that up, put the markers on the board, and get back to you in 1 second. Okay, when I was tidying up the board, getting things back in place, removing the guns from here, I noticed putting the victory points, demolition marker on there, giving us 4 points and 6 points, giving us a total of 15. He says, zipping around like a zippy thing who zips, that this guy here is actually in a green zone. I didn't notice that. That gun here could have fired on Woodcock, could have done some damage to him. It hits on a 2 or less the German flag towers, and it missed entirely. However, should he have scored a hit in the previous stage before the guy set his charges, the numbers, and I checked this on the video, didn't affect the fact that he would have still been able to place his charges and would have set them off successfully in the turn. So no harm done, no foul. But yeah, I'm just sort of crossing my legs and drinking my teas to get that one done first. After that, I think is now going to be the German consolidation turn, and I don't think there's a pair of Germans anywhere to be consolidated. So it will be a turn marker move to number 4, but the scuttle token down onto the Campbelltown and reduce the number of guns available for the flotilla. That's going to hurt quite a lot, but I will see you now in turn number 4. Okay, so we are well into turn number 4 now. It is the turn number 4 is when the base defence number for the to hit for the harbour defence goes from a 1 to 5 down to a 1 to 4, which makes it easier for the Brits, harder for the Germans, and it wasn't that good for the Germans this time round. In the repair phase, this light got repaired, and that gun there didn't get repaired. In the harbour defence phase, this guy was hit with the pre-designated shot because he was on fire. It's now killed all the crew. These guys have jumped into the water. They can get onto Knock's boat. He has remained undamaged. He can finally pick somebody up and do part of the job he was employed for in the first place. And he could move this way. He could move this way after that. So we'll see what happens with numbers. But in terms of the covering fire, the Brits, they've now got a +3 on their to hit number from their flotilla. They did manage to hit something. They took this gun out with that one. Hooray! That was rather cool of them. But when it came down to the dockside defence, that was pretty disastrous for the Germans. They managed to miss, and they managed to get 3 shots in here, or 2 shots in here rather, on target. Both of them went on to Boyd. Unfortunately for him, not only did he get a turn away and a knockout on one of his guns, the second shot was a multiple casualties. He rolled a 6 multiple casualties. That took 3 of his crew out. He's now got 1 crew member left on board that ship, but it reduced his speed down to a 1 when you roll a 6. So he's not very happy and stuck there. These crew members here have come from the Campbelltown. They're going to be loaded onto one of these boats, probably Ryder, who got hit early on in the harbour defence. Even though he's got a reduced speed from the evade marker, he's a 3-speed boat. So we can move 1 to pull away, 1 to pick these guys up, and then 1 he can move into here and start moving himself out with the rest of these guys. And I think most of these boats will be going home in the next couple of turns, and then doing the open sea roll, which happens up there, and you'll find that when we get to it. Apart from that, I think once I do the naval movement phase, we'll do the German activation, and the Brits will start moving forward, and we can start seeing where our ground units are going to end up. Oh, and this light here is now shining in this area where there are some Brits, and it is effective. So that's going to affect the combat here, should there be any combat and Germans springing up. Okay, with the naval movement done, we got these guys here being picked up from the Campbelltown. Everyone else is starting their Benny Hill chase to get the hell out of Dodge. And we got a lot of boats here in the near approach. It takes 2 factors to move out into the open sea. This boat here is going to be sunk at the end of this turn. Don't worry about that. Germany, they rolled a 5 on their activation chart, reduced down to a 4, which produced 4 guys coming into it. It emptied our bucket of number 1 alarm level guys there. So next time it'll be level 2, slightly stronger guys coming into it. One of them was ineffectively placed up here on the minesweeper. He won't be too much of a problem, I don't think. One went into the reinforcement zone. That won't be a problem. The other one came up into here. I think, was it 426? Yeah, that one up there, 426. Only a level 2 guy anyway, or 2 strength guy. Not going to be too much of a problem. The 4th guy is going to be a problem. He's a level 6 guy. He's next to this guy in the same square, and they are both level 6s. So these guys coming through attacking in these places where we want to put our charges down, they're going to be a problem for us later on. Let me have a little think about the British movement, which is what starts up next. And I'm thinking whether we take one of these guys here, one of these commander units, and bring him down alongside this gun, because if the gun has an adjacent commando, it won't be able to fight in the harbour defence phase. And with all these boats in here, it might pay dividends, but his job really is to protect the commando demolition squad rather than protecting the boat. So I'm in 2 minds what to do at this stage. I'll let you know when I've decided what I'm going to do. Okay, end of the British movement and German movement phase. Unfortunately for the Germans, they rolled a 6 when it came to their movement, meaning only these guys could move. 2 big units, I must admit that. But those guys are now perilously close to this guy here, who has moved in along the coast or along the seawall to get himself into a place where he can put his charges. He will have an attack against these guys. Even though having an attack is going to reduce his chances of laying his charges, he's got to try and protect himself in some way before the rest of the commandos come through and give him a little bit of backup. Pennington here, Purden is on target, sorry. This guy here, young Wilson, I think that is, or Woodcock that is, he destroyed that target last time. He can go onto here and have that as a secondary target. And we've got Smalley down here who's come onto a secondary target, these storage tanks, with Chant coming through from his work on the northern half of the docks. and is it north? It's north on my board anyway. And try and take out some of these storage tanks and get to the exit point up here. We'll see where we go with all this. Newman, who came through later in is going to go this way to try and support all these guys here. Some of these guys have got shot against the mortar shots against the flak towers up here. We're not having a shot with this guy. We don't want to use up an attack from him, and it's the same with Woodcock here. Don't want to use up his attack mortar wise, because it takes away from your chances of laying your charges as well. And we've got these two guys on target as well. So we've got plenty of demolition charges to go off, but only 2 actual land combats, if I remember, or 3 actual land combats. It's this guy versus the one stronger soldier in here. This guy's going to have a pop at this gun. Now, having a demolition unit versus a gun is not a good bet most times around. But he's a 6 strength, the gun is only a 4 strength, so should he actually achieve a hit, he has got a good chance of disrupting it and taking away a shot back on him next time round. And obviously the attack up here with, I think, is it Platt there? I can't remember what his name is now. But he's going to have a go at these 2 soldiers here. Let me get the first one queued up and I'll see you there. Okay, this unit is actually Brett, not Platt. I think Platt was on one of the boats. I can't remember now. Anyway, he's having a go at one of these 2 Germans in here. He is a demo unit, which is not going to be handy. So he doesn't get the -1 bonus. German firing hexagonal hexes and bits and pieces. There's not a lot here that's going to help him out. In fact, he's going to get a +1 to his dice because he is a commando demo unit. Okay, let's see what he rolls. He's rolled a 4. Oh, actually, he may have scored a hit there because he's got a 4. It's a +1, which is a 5. There is no German searchlights in that area. That's handy. Otherwise, that would have been a disaster for him. So he has scored a hit. So what damage can he do? He has scored a... Okay, just the 1 damage. One of these guys gets reduced down from a 6 to a 5, and let's look at the next battle that's going to take place. Well, annoying. Let's see if young Roy can do better. He is this guy here versus this guy here. Roy has got a 3 strength at the moment. Not that good, but we live in hope. He has scored a 6, which is way above his number, even though he has a -1 because he is an assault unit. And he's in the same hex area as the German, or same area as the German. It's only going to reduce it down to a 4. We failed with that attack. Not so good. Let's have a look at what Smalley can do. If he can get a ranged attack against this artillery piece here. Smalley is a strength of 6. He has rolled a 3. He doesn't get the -1. He's not in the same area. He's not under a searchlight beam. He is a commando demo unit, so it's a +1, so his 3 becomes a 4. But Smalley is a strength of 6, so he's scored a hit. The gun is a strength of 4. If we now roll 4 or higher, we're going to be damaging that gun. Nice. We don't. Damn and blast. Okay, that's really 3 out of 3 failures. We have hit something. So that attack's done, that attack's done, that attack's been done. The only other ones we got queued up for it, these guys say we're not going to use the mortar fire. We don't want to reduce what they can do with placing their charges down. So there's just going to be these 2 guys here. It's Moss and Bradley trying to lump one of their mortar shells into this gun over here. It hits at a 1 and a 1 only. So let's go with Moss first. Moss misses, and Bradley gets a hit. Nice! That means we've hit this gun over here with a mortar shell. Let me sort all that one out with a dice roll, which will going to be a... Oh, I just dropped that dice in the tray. Let me roll it properly, even though it was a 1. I missed the tray. It's a 1 3 times. How did that happen? It must be predestined to be a 1, that one there, even though it was my fumbling fingers. So that 1 up there against that flak tower, I believe, destroys it. Just that 1 gun on that side, though. Let me get my collective thoughts together and stop myself wobbling around, and I'll get back to you with whatever the Germans will do, I believe. On with the German turn. As far as I can see, there's no shots in this area that can affect these guys here, but we do have this one flak tower that can only hit yellow areas, so that doesn't affect it. The one that could have hit this guy on the long range flak tower fire, that's already been taken out, so we can ignore this area entirely. And the long range shot from this flak tower, it's been taken out from that wonderful mortar shot first time round. So it's only going to be attacks here. We've got this gun attacking young Smalley here. Let's roll that one out. It effectively acts as a 4 strength unit. So it will roll at a 4 because there's no modifiers for these Germans at this stage. It's rolled a 2, which is below its strength. It will be doing damage to Smalley here, who's trying to place his charges. Ouch. Let's see what damage it's going to do. Smalley suffers 4 damage. And he might lose some ammo, which will be a sack of... He doesn't. He manages to keep hold of his stack of C4 explosive, whatever it is. Let me mark all that down and come back to it in a second. Okay, we'll move to the attack just next to him, which is Roy versus this German unit. He's a 4 strength unit, plus he's going to get a -1 bonus to his dice because they're in the same area. Chance of hitting Roy is quite strong, I think, here. And he's rolled a 5, -1 is a 4. It's going to be a hit, him versus him. So the damage will be from one of our damage effect dices. It's just going to be the 1 damage. Oh, well, Roy survives that. Losing any ammo? No, yes, he will lose some ammo because he'll be down to a 2 strength unit and it's a 3 on the ammo check there. So let me just mark that one down. Okay, and we've now got this attack up here, which is this German guy on this boat. He can fire across. Even though he's on the back boat, I do believe that it's just a parking space for him. He can fire against one of these 2 commando units in here. It will choose Burn because he is the commando unit rather than the demo unit. Strength of 4, see what he can roll. He's rolled a 5. I don't think there's anything that can help that out to turn that into a better roll. In fact, it's going to be a worse roll. It's going to be a plus roll because... Oh, no, that's the target in there. But no, there's nothing that's going to help this guy out. He has scored a miss. That's rather handy. But we have been saving the worst for last, or the best for last, for as far as Germany is concerned. We've got a 6 strength unit and a 5 strength unit versus young Brett up here, who missed on his... Well, he scored 1 hit, didn't he, effectively? But because this guy here is a 6 strength unit, he's not a commando. He's not in the same area. There's no searchlight beams, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. This guy will auto-hit Brett. This guy will only miss if he rolls a 6. Let's see if this guy misses. He doesn't miss. So both these guys will get a damage roll versus young Brett up here. The first guy does a 3 damage and the second guy does a 5 damage. It doesn't matter to do the ammo rolls, anything else like that. Young Brett there, who was a 6 strength unit, is no longer. That's disastrous. I think it was quite brave moving the guy in there. We could have waited for these demo guys, these commando guys, to come and back him up. But we wanted, I think, to get on with it a little bit. And I think I'm regretting that decision right away. I think that's the end of all the combat that the Germans can do. It will be the demo phase next, unless I got something completely wrong. Okay, demo preparation phase. We got Smalley here having an attack. We have got Purden there having an attack. I think that's Woodcock. And 3 guys up here with sticks at funny angles to try to remind me of things. Smalley here, he won't be making his demo preparation because he is a 2 strength unit. Under the demolition table preparation chart, he entered the unit this turn. It's a +2 on the die roll. He fired his gun this time. It's a +1, and he was fired upon. It was a +1. So it's not a primary target to get a -1. He is +4 on his dice before he even starts, and he's only a 2 strength. There is no way he can roll in this position and prepare his charges here. So really, Smalley's job is done there. Those markers come off. And we look at the next guy up here. Now we've got Purdon. Purdon is a 6 strength unit. He's still up there ready to rock and roll. He moved into the area this turn, which gives him a +2 to the dice, but nobody fired on him. He didn't fire on anybody else. So it's a +2 on the die roll. He rolls a 4. +2 is a 6. It is equal to or less than his strength, which is a 6. Therefore, he successfully places his charges. Let me reach across and get a charge voucher down and put that one on there, and we sort everything out, tidying up later on. It is exactly the same with Woodcock here. Woodcock himself is a 6 strength unit. It is the same value. He moved in this turn. He wasn't fired upon. He's rolled a 6. Damn and blast. 6 + 2 is 8. Nothing we can help him out with. So he's failed to put his charges down this time round. But what I then do with that is I change that to one of these tokens to remind me that he has been here this turn. So that +2 will not apply on the next turn when he tries to lay down his charges. We have got guy's name up here, Walton. Walton is a 6 strength unit. He gets that +2 on his die roll as well. He's rolled a 5. He fails to put down his charges. I'll mark that up in a second. It's the same with Swain up there, double checking over my right shoulder. Swain again, same dice. He fails. Oh my giddy aunt. And whether this guy is in here, Wilson, he manages to place his charges for sure. So I shall do that before I forget, and I'll come back to you in a sec. So here are my reminding tokens to tell me that these guys here have already been in this square. They won't have that +2 on their die roll when trying to prepare their charges next time. We go with Purdon first, trying to set off his charges. It's a die roll. He's rolled a 2, which means the target is destroyed. Nice! I'll put a destroyed marker on there so I can sort that out in a minute. The other one we have to do will be Wilson over here on the power station. Important, this one. If this one goes off, we'll be well chuffed. It's a 3. Again, that destroys the power station. That's quite important because what do you think is going to happen? All these lights get knocked out because there's no power to them. There is a disrupt roll we do for each one of those lights in the couple of turns later. I should have to read up on all the rules about that and put the marker down on this, but I believe it's 2 turns later when they can start trying to roll and repair their lights. But for the moment, these boats now have got a bit of an advantage getting out of the harbour. Let me mark all that up and get back to you in a second. Okay, I was remembering that correctly. These go on 2 turns after this. They can start getting repaired with a disrupt roll later on, but nothing can happen now. These lights are effectively all out of action, which is pretty damn handy as far as the Brits are concerned. Now, that I think is the end of the turn as well. Apart from German consolidation, these 2 guys are both already above a strength of 6. I think the only guys up here are these 2 can get consolidated. Other than that, that will be the end of turn number 4 and video number 3. I will see you in video number 4 at the start of turn number 5. Getting ourselves confused with numbers here. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, be cool.